Yes, in a bill like this, I think it is appropriate for it to go to the people.
I have serious due process concerns with red light cameras, really serious concerns about where the money goes.
They want to keep tracking you. They want to keep violating your Constitution. They want to put your lives and your property at risk so they can keep getting money.
I'm very proud to say that Paradise Valley is the first, really, municipality in the country that adopted using photo radar.
On this episode of Jen and Friends for State 48 News, the money machine that is photo radar.
Is $37 to the town. The rest goes to the state.
We'll look at the pros.
It is an important tool to slow drivers down near our children.
The cons.
It tracks the movements of millions of ordinary citizens, depending on where you are, who have just absolutely no connection to a crime whatsoever.
And what's left to be considered.
Government often does not come to citizens first and ask for permission to use this stuff, even though it impacts all of us, right?
Here in Arizona, 3 options are on the table. A bill to expand traffic photo radar, a bill to ban photo radar, and a resolution to allow the people to decide.
Let the citizens decide if they want a law enforcement process with such a large error rate and inherent flaws.
That it should be the people who decide how they should be governed. It should be the people who decide what process is due.
Arizona resident Sean Dow delivered a fiery address to the Senate Committee on Public Safety.
For nearly 2 decades, I've been running around the country banning photo radar cameras. I've been successful in ripping them out of over 700 cities and banning them in 19 states.
What's at stake today?
The people's choice, the people's opportunities. For 18 years, the politicians have proven to us that they're not capable of defending our rights, protecting our property and our liberties.
It's not because we're loud. It's not because we're obnoxious. It's because these cameras are unconstitutional.
Advocates for photo radar are city and law enforcement officials.
This is not about policy. This is about saving lives. Is that photo enforcement works. Located between Phoenix, Scottsdale, and Tempe, my community sees 24 million vehicles every year. Yet in the last 3 years, only 2 fatal collisions have occurred, neither of which were due to speed. What is our secret? Photo enforcement.
We are passionate about keeping our community safe and our visitors safe, and photo enforcement is a key tool for us.
The utilization of the photo radar technology or photo enforcement technology would allow us to more effectively staff our streets and use that as a kind of a force multiplier for our traffic enforcement.
The residents of my community, of Paradise Valley, are in fully support of this technology. It works for us and our community as a pass-through community.
Another argument in favor of traffic photo enforcement is allowing cities to decide whether to use the tool, rather than allowing the voters to make the decision statewide.
Big government should not be making the decision for us. Each community should have the ability to decide what is best for their streets. If anything, make it a requirement that cities have to vote on photo enforcement at the local level, but not at a state level.
I ask you to give that decision, keep that decision with the municipalities.
It is pro-big government and pro-surveillance and pro-law enforcement surveillance, and we have seen support from it from Democrats and Republicans alike who are in favor of those things. And we have had allies on both the left and the right who are privacy-minded against things like ALPRs.
Those against traffic photo enforcement cite several concerns. The first is privacy.
So a lot of these jurisdictions are just sharing data, states all over the country. It's really easy. You just press a button and then you're in Arizona, but someone in Connecticut could have access to the entire database of the flock data capturing the license plates in Arizona.
Because these cameras are connected to NLETs and they do a background check on every vehicle that passes without probable cause, these are a Fourth Amendment violation.
The senators to vote on this issue and to pass it and give us, the citizens, the chance to vote on whether or not we want background checks done on us every time we drive by that camera, whether we've broken the law or not, whether or not we want this private foreign company tracking and selling our data.
You have not made the decision for your vehicle and the information of your vehicle to be shared with private companies that can sell that data to, hostile parties or things that you most necessarily don't agree with. So there's definitely some problems with that.
That the cameras can't really see anything that you can't see if you're looking into my vehicle from the outside. And there's not really a reasonable expectation of privacy there per se, but there is a concern that comes into play when the government is harvesting huge amounts of publicly available data, and looking into huge amount of people's windows and aggregating that, then it does become a little bit more concerning. So I don't think that in and of itself is a constitutional issue, but it is probably a public policy problem.
Are we just at a point in society now where privacy is just not possible? We just don't have privacy anymore.
No, I think that privacy is a choice and a result of policies, right? So you can have a police department that rolls out a real-time crime center and feeds all this data together, or you have a department that chooses not to. And those are vastly different amounts of privacy that citizens are afforded. So I think the idea that privacy is gone is a mistake. If it is gone, then we are choosing to get rid of it.
The reason why we're seeing so many cities and towns reject this, and why this is so important to go to the voters, is because the people are rising up saying, we want more process due in these circumstances. We want representation. We want the ability to file lawsuits. We want the ability to find out the data. Where is the money going?
But I think it's a very good idea to get rid of red light cameras in our state. One, as a lawyer who's done a lot of constitutional work, I have serious due process concerns with red light cameras.
The second concern surrounding photo radar is the revenue generated by issuing tickets and the funds going into clean elections to finance candidates' campaign coffers.
As a lawyer who's done a lot of elections work, I also have really serious concerns about where the money goes for these cameras, which is to clean elections, which is a program that largely allows Democrats to funnel taxpayer money to members of their party who are running for legislature in districts that are not particularly competitive, who then turn around, take that money, and give it to the party so that it can be distributed to Democrat candidates in swing districts. I mean, it's a gigantic way of siphoning off taxpayer money to help Democrats get elected. So I think it's deeply problematic.
Clean elections folks that do get money from the traffic violations as well. I don't think that is fair to use that money to fund people's campaigns or to fund the municipalities.
The most egregious of these, the 10% cut of every photo radar ticket that goes into state legislators and state senators' campaign coffers. The little data that we have been able to receive showed that over a 10-year period, you, the state legislators, received $36 million in photo radar ticket funds directly to your campaign coffers.
It is the funding source for clean elections, is this photo radar money.
In a stunning revelation, Paradise Valley, a town of less than 13,000 residents, confirmed issuing a staggering 100,000 photo radar tickets last year.
We have over about 100,000 citations that are issued a year for that.
That number, which I believe was, what was the number of citations you had last year? 100,000? Is that 100,000 unique citations, or are there repeat offenders?
Good question. I don't have the information in front of me if it's repeat offenders, but I do know that that statistically we know that we have had a decrease of accidents and a decrease of incidents of collision or death.
It leaves you wondering, where is all this money going?
And as far as the revenue, we never look at it directly as revenue. Per citation that is $37 to the town, the rest goes to the state.
I'm for police officers, I'm for all our first responders. But as a disabled vet, this is a cash cow and it should not be used.
This is a bill that speaks to if you have a speeding ticket, you will not be served by a police officer, law enforcement officer. You'll be served with a summons that comes from a machine, which can be tweaked, which is a cash cow.
When we take an oath to defend this body and the Constitution, photo radar exclusively violates our Sixth Amendment right to not know who is your accuser. It's a machine. That's not a human being that can stand before you in court.
But just on the grounds of the Constitution and the Sixth Amendment, I think it could have some issues.
Cities, the state of Arizona, and clean elections candidates are just a few of those who stand to benefit from tracking and ticketing you. Further up the chain are the companies who develop the technology, the vendors who sell it, and the lobbyists peddling it.
Lobbyists down at the Capitol have a huge amount of influence. There's obviously a vendor that stands to make a large amount of money here. And it's amazing how lobbyists can get members to do 180s on their positions. Frankly, I've never understood how they have so much influence, but they seem to. So,
have you seen any incidents, any examples or cases where police departments are getting something in return from Flock or any of these companies to be using this technology, to be promoting it? Does Flock get something out of having all these departments and organizations using their product?
Well, other than the cost of the contract, right? They're paid. It's a paid service. But the other thing that they get out of it is data that they can use to train future products. So they are getting a ton of images and behavioral information. To my knowledge, the company hasn't right now said that they're planning to leverage that data to sell it. But that doesn't mean they won't in the future, and it does mean that they can develop new products off of that information, which is very valuable. We're living in a time where data is extremely valuable for training artificial intelligence models.
What is the future of photo radar in Arizona? Let's pull out our crystal ball. Remember, privacy is not necessarily a right or left issue.
And we have had allies on both the left and the right who are privacy-minded against things like ALPRs.
We know Governor Hobbs is a fan of traffic photo enforcement as she's vetoed legislation to ban it. So that leaves us to one resolution allowing the voters to decide. The people have been adamant they don't like photo radar in Arizona. Why hasn't this gone to the voters before?
Because our politicians' campaign coffers are filled with photo radar money. They have played games every year for the 18 years that I've been going down to the Capitol every year. They have played games every year. Some Republican always falls on the sword and joins with the Democrats to keep the photo radar program alive.
Why?
It has failed by one vote every single year.
Obviously, right now, we have a Democrat on the 9th floor. She's not going to stop the money funnel to the Democrats. So we know this. But I think in 2 years, the situation is probably going to be very, very different. We have to keep talking about this issue, point out to the voters what an unconstitutional scam it is, so that when we have a Republican on the 9th floor, we could get rid of it once and for all.
Senator Kevin Payne, a co-sponsor of a bill to expand photo radar, now states emphatically he's against it.
I support law enforcement and have for quite some time. I don't think they're on the take either. But Peoria has said loud and clear, no. So I come from Peoria. I represent Peoria. Loud and clear, no.
We have not heard back from Senator Carroll on this issue, and we're now hearing Senator Werner may be negotiating a provision. She voted last week against the bill to ban photo enforcement on the Senate floor.
This is now closed. Secretary, record a vote by a vote of 16 ayes, 13 nays, 1 not voting. You've passed Senate Bill 1019. Sign in open session. Secretary, instructor, record the action. Transmit the bill to the House.
Does it surprise you that conservatives would want to expand photo radar?
Yeah, although you always query how conservative somebody is when they try to do something like that.
That's a great question, and you might have to ask them.
They won't talk.
I know
They
some
won't
of this.
talk. Senator Wendy Rogers' resolution to allow the voters to have the final say is back in the game.
Senator Wendy Rogers, LD7 Flagstaff. This is the Senate concurrent resolution to put the prohibition of photo radar to the ballot.
State 48 News is watching the calendar to bring you the earliest updates. You know, our mic is always open to any lawmaker who would like to discuss this important topic with us. And we'll wrap up this episode of Jen and Friends on a hopeful note.
What do you think about the resolution coming back?
I think that the public saw what happened at last week's committee. As usual, they get very angry and call the senators and light them up. And that's why you saw an immediate about face on some of these senators and putting forward the SCR so that the people can have a say on it. And completely reversing their comments on the dais.
So do you feel like there's an actual chance? Do we have a chance that this could go to the voters? Say yes.
Look, the truth is we have a Republican majority in the Senate and the House. If Republicans stick to their constituents' wills, we will have a chance.